Everyone in this room is inspired by you. Who are you inspired by?
Well, Kanye West, obviously.
Kanye West posts disturbing tweet claiming he's going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, before insisting he can't be anti-Semitic because black people are Jew also.
Overnight backlash for Nick Cannon after these controversial comments on his podcast, Cannon's Class.
We are the Semitic people. When we are the same people that who they want to be, that's our birthright.
Viacom CBS announcing they are cutting ties with the comedian.
But what about the big ear of corn?
Who they have had a decades-long relationship with.
So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less.
In the June 30th episode of his podcast, Cannon speaking to former Public Enemy member Professor Griff.
The only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and
fight or flight, okay,
in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages.
The 39-year-old host facing criticism for his comments, also accused of perpetuating an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
The Rothschilds, centralized banking, the bloodlines that control everything even outside of America.
Yeah. Why do you think they would want to promote unhealthiness among the population?
It's a genocide of the black race. They want to kill us in any way they can. Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics, with the KKK. And
the head of Planned Parenthood says the organization must confront the background of founder Margaret Sanger and her ties to both white supremacy and eugenics. In an opinion piece in the New York Times over the weekend, Alexis McGill Johnson said Sanger will remain influential in the organization, but added, quote, "As we tell the history of Planned Parenthood's founding, we must fully take responsibility for the harm that Sanger caused to generations of people with disabilities and Black, Latino, Asian American, and Indigenous people."
To all of you at Planned Parenthood, for all the work that you are doing for women all across the country and for families all across the country and for men who have enough sense to realize you're helping them all across the country.
I love the message behind BeautyCon. It is everyone's beautiful, everyone's welcome.
We are all different, beautiful people. It's like one of the few places where people can be their full selves.
How does body autonomy and self-expression kind of intersect?
You want to be in control of your own body, period.
You can't tell me what to do with none of this over here. I am in control of it. God gave it to me, and not for any man or person to run.
I was really upset when I heard that they passed the law to stop abortion in Georgia, and I just feel like that's crazy.
Who has the right to make decisions about your body?
Me, myself, and I.
How would you feel if someone was trying to take away the rights to your freedom?
And to take something away from somebody that they do not relate to in any way, shape, or form is messed up, because that is not compassionate, that is not humane.
We need to band together and support each other in this fight to really take control of our body and take control of who we are and what we choose to be.
The power that I feel the most in this room is the power that everybody can express themselves and be proud of whatever they are and however they want to look and however they want to represent themselves.
We just keep on pushing forward. That's the best we could do.
I feel like people can use their influence for things to speak up. And when we see things that aren't right, or, we see people impeding on our rights, we should use that voice to speak up.
And I believe that if we saw ourselves as a people and not a race, then we would treat our people better. Like if you go to a Jewish person and you say a race, it almost gets confusing. They'll cut you off quickly and say, we're not a race, we're a people. Well, our people are supposed to just say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Okay, well, what about, do you own the land that you're living in? Do you own, is the contracts even in a language that's even possibly understandable,
right?
You know, for your heritage, you know. And in America, we as blacks will like down each other on how good we speak, but we're speaking English. There's nothing whiter than English. We're not in our native tongue, actually. So we judge each other on white goal lines, not based on exactly what our culture is based on. When my mom, when the school suggested like the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us, and they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And so my mom, she had a PhD, and she was influenced to move to the south side of Chicago and take this job at Chicago State University. And she told my dad, if you come for us, you'll never see him again. Because, the media ridiculed me for getting the house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children. And that's how I knew that my mom had said that to him. I said, Dad, they moved us to one of the most agreed upon to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's almost like they tried to kill me or something. I said, Dad, why'd you never come to get us? And that's when he told me that she was told that. There's so many things that are put in Kim's head. They bring influencers, like no one ever knew where Corey Gamble came from. No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from. These people were practically made in a laboratory.
Bonding works. We'll use his DNA for the 11.
CRISPR is a term. It's bacteria have an immune system that cuts invaders, cuts their DNA. And what we've done now, as scientists, we've now utilized that system, take it out of the bacteria, and we use it to create designer mutations, designer gene changes in animals and also in humans. So it's a bacterial immune system that corrects genes, and we use it all the time now. It's actually, what's interesting about it is we've been able to mutate genes for many years, but this is dial up a gene mutation. You can choose exactly where you want to make it. And recently, a Chinese researcher in our field came out and said he's engineered a couple of twin girls with CRISPR to be resistant to HIV, the AIDS virus.
Lizzo works with my trainer, a friend of mine, Harley Pasternak. When Lizzo loses 10 pounds and announces it, the bots, that's a term for people it's like telemarketer callers, like on Instagram, they attack her for losing weight because the media wants to put out a perception that being overweight is the new goal when it's actually unhealthy. Yes. Let's get aside the fact of whether it's fashion and Vogue, which is not. Let's just, or if someone thinks it's attractive, to each his own. It's actually clinically unhealthy. And for people to promote that, it's demonic.
There's an epidemic weighing down our nation, contributing to more than 12% of yearly deaths in the U.S. No, it's not COVID-19. That's a pandemic. What we're talking about is a long-standing chronic health problem, and it doesn't look to be going anywhere anytime soon. This is the obesity epidemic. More than 40% of Americans fit the medical definition for having obesity. This puts them at risk for serious health issues, including diabetes, heart disease, and some types of cancer.
It's imperative to reach as many as possible. 4 out of 5 black women in the U.S. are overweight, and more than half of all black women are considered obese.
We are dying faster and at higher rates than women in every state from preventable diseases like diabetes, like some cancers. I mean, that is directly related to the way we care for our bodies.
Why do you think that is?
On the priority list of things in a Black woman's life, unfortunately, health has fallen down the priority line.
And the pandemic has only increased the stakes. In its first year, nearly 1/3 of severe COVID cases were blamed on excess weight. So how come obesity, with its many associated risks, is so difficult to overcome? Is it societal, brought on by a culture of laziness? Or is it biological, and we're just putting too much of the blame on ourselves? Societal circumstances are certainly a factor. With the prevalence of ultra-processed and aggressively marketed foods that are high in fat, salt, and sugar, it's easy to see why we put on the pounds in the first place. But getting them off is a lot harder, and this is linked to our evolutionary biology. Once the human body creates extra fat cells, it's extremely difficult to cut down their numbers. We evolved to hold on to extra pounds, ensuring our survival when food was scarce. Our evolution has yet to catch up with the existence of a fast food joint on every street corner. To make matters worse, experts have found that social pressures around weight loss often cause those who do lose weight to rebound. Stigmas and shame are more likely to create negative emotions and disordered eating, which result in weight gain instead of positive shifts in healthy eating habits.
I'm standing up and I'm telling you, I am Warhol. I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google. Now, who's going to be the Medici family and stand up and let me create more? Or do you want to marginalize me till I'm out of my moment?
Or why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
Kanye.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Kanye.
I've been doing this more than you.
Doing what
you
more
ain't
than
got,
me? Come on, chill out.
You
bro.
ain't got the
Kanye,
answers.